Yo, what up, everybody? Mr. Smith back. Appreciate you coming by the channel. I am going to be giving a tutorial on some Google SketchUp. So this is primarily for my students, but if you've come by, I make tutorial videos about 3D modeling and programming. So last semester, we wrapped up with everyone creating their own Christmas ornament. We learned tools like the push-pull and the follow me tool. This semester, we're going to do a little bit more, but with a focus on part modeling. All right, so for the first series of these videos, I'm actually using these straight out of the skill builder tutorial classes, and I'm going to basically be demonstrating how to do different chess pieces. All right, so my expectation for my students is you will follow along, you will complete this chess piece, and then you're going to be submitting a screenshot to me. All right, so let's go ahead and let's jump in. Today, we're going to be starting off by setting up, and we're going to start with the pawn chess piece. All right, so go ahead and get logged into your Google SketchUp for Schools, the free version of Google SketchUp. So I have mine saved up here in my toolbar under SketchUp for Schools. So once it's loaded up, the first thing I want you guys to do is I want you to create a new file. All right, so you're going to click Create New, and let's do feet and inches. All right, so mine loads up pretty quick, but if yours didn't load up quick, you'll have to wait on it. And the first thing I want you to do is go ahead and delete Temple Grandin. So you can click and press delete, or you can actually grab the eraser tool over here and you can click and delete. All right, so what we're going to do first is there are 6 different chess pieces, so we're going to create 6 different bases to build off of. All right, and then once we have those 6 bases, we're actually going to 3D model the pawn. All right, so follow my directions very carefully. And also in this video, I'm not really too worried about exact dimensioning because we're going for design here, and then we'll scale it down when we actually go to 3D print. So the first thing you need to do, traditionally most chess pieces are circular based. So over here on the left side, I'm looking for the circle tool, which is nested inside of the rectangle tool. I'll click that. I'm going to find my origin. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in. Again, I told y'all I'm not super concerned about dimensions, but I'm going to make mine 6 inches. So I'm going to start the circle and then press 6 on my keyboard. You can see on the bottom right that it now says 6, and I press enter and I get a circle that has a diameter of 12 inches but a radius of 6. So I'm going to take my push-pull tool, just like we did in first semester, and I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to bring it up about 2 inches. All right, so I typed in 2. Actually, that's a little big. So I'm bringing it up about 1.5 inches. All right. So now I have the first part of our base. The next thing I'm going to do is inside of the push-pull tool, we have the offset tool nested. What the offset lets you do is you can actually click on one of your surfaces, and then you can offset whatever the edges look like. So in this case, I'm offsetting a circle inside the circle. For this, I'm going to come in, let's just do, I'm just going to do half an inch, so 0.5. All right, so I've just come in a little bit, offset it inward. Now I'm going to go grab the push-pull. It's still nested inside of offset. And this time I'm going to come up maybe 0.75. All right, because the last time I went up 1.5. So this is the base. All right, these are the bases that we are going to use for all of our chess pieces. So because we're going to use it for all of our chess pieces, we want to make a bunch of copies of it. So to do that, we actually need to highlight, right click, and make group. So now this is a group, and if I click on it, the whole thing is selected. If you look at the bottom here, it says we have these different, I guess, instructions. All right. So right now with the tool that I have, the selector tool, I can do add subtract. But if I grab the move tool over here, if I grab the move tool, it looks like the compass. I have a different set of instructions. So control lets me copy. So I'm going to hold control and then click, and I can actually copy that. All right, so now I have two of them, control and click, and copy. If I press control and click and it's highlighted, all right, I can do ×3. Well, mine's, oh, it's because I've already clicked on it. So at the bottom I did X3. It didn't work. All right, so for now, just hit control and then copy. I was struggling a little bit with the, so we're gonna need 6 of these. So control and click, and there we go. So we have our 6 different bases. All right, so use the move tool and the control key to make copies of these. So what I'm worried about today though is just the pond. And I'm gonna draw my pond on this first one. So I'm just gonna center right on it. So we've made copies of all these bases, but if we want to actually edit one of them, you have to double click on it. So I want to do this one, so I double click, and you'll see here that the other ones have been grayed out, and now I know that I'm working off this one. So first thing I want to do is I'm going to draw myself a guideline. So I'm going to find the middle. So I kind of go here, all right, and it snaps me to the middle, and then I go to this point, and I'm going to draw a blue line vertically. All right, and this is going to represent the height of my pond. All right, and you'll see that my little work area box has now grown to the height of that line. I'm now going to take my circle tool, and I'm going to draw me a circle because we all know that ponds have like that little nub top. So now that I have my circle, I'm going to go ahead and take my pencil tool now, and I'm going to draw me a guideline. Make sure it's red, but I'm going to kind of draw me a line all the way to the edge. Then I'm going to go over here to the left, and under the pencil tool, I'm going to click and grab the 2-point arc tool. I'm going to click and then click. And I can actually use this bottom line as a guide. So if you kind of move along the bottom line, it'll help you kind of gauge your arc. So I want mine to be about right there. All right, you're just looking for everything to stay solid. Make sure it stays solid. All right, so I got this good looking pond going. I'm going to add a little neck on it. So I'm going to grab my pencil tool, and I'm just going to come down and come down and come over. All right, again, it went solid. And finally, I'm going to extend this line up just to kind of complete it. So we're going to be using the follow me tool. So I really only need half of the design, and then it's going to rotate around the base to create the pond. So I'm now going to go and I'm actually going to delete. So I'm just using my select tool, or I could use the eraser, and I'm deleting all the lines I don't need. Oh, I needed that one. All right, deleting this line, and I'm deleting this line. So at this point, this is my design for my pond. All right, this is the design for my pond. So what I'm going to do now is use the follow me tool. You should remember this from before the break. But what you have to do is select your geometry first. So my geometry is this circle here. And then I go over here and I click. And I click the follow me tool that's nested inside of push pull. And when I click on this, it should go all the way around. Mine's acting a little strange, so I'm going to redo it. I'm going to click the selector tool. All right, so if it's acting a little weird, just go re-grab it. Then the follow me tool, and I click, and this time it worked out pretty perfect. All right, I do have a couple weird lines here. Sometimes those are things you can delete. Let's see. It might have just been an extra line I had I didn't realize. All right. But the big thing here is we want to make sure our object is solid. So one way we can do that is we rotate to the bottom, click on the bottom, right click and hide. So if I hide the bottom, now I can look underneath, and to me it looks like everything's pretty solid. I don't really see any major issues. We do have this line here, so I'm just going to delete that. But for the most part, everything's solid. So unfortunately, I just hid the bottom. So how do I get it back? So what you have to do is you have to click on the object, and you go over here to the little eyeglasses on the right, and you click on the eyeglasses, and this allows you to turn things back on. So if I click hidden objects or hidden geometry, it's going to allow me now to, even though I have to double click, see how now that you can't see it, but I can actually select it. So I can right click and go to unhide, and now it's back. Alternatively, if you have the whole thing selected, like I'm selecting the whole object, I can click unhide all. Well, actually, I probably have to do it like this. Then unhide all, and it'll come back. All right. So again, that's over here. It's the little eyeglasses on the right. It allows you to unhide anything that you have hidden. Another way that we can check to make sure this is a solid geometry, I'm going to go ahead and uncheck these. If we click on it again and we go to the right, and right here we have this entity info. All right, and right here it says that my selection, sorry, is 834 entities. And if I click on it, it says it's one in the model, which means it is solid. All right, so I would be able to 3D print this without any problems. I'll try to delete these lines too. All right, and these are just kind of quick ways that you can double check that your model is solid. All right, so if I wanted to, I could go and export this as a .stl, and I could send it straight to my 3D printer and have myself a little pawn. And I've actually already done that. So this is one that I designed and 3D printed the other day just to kind of demonstrate. And you can see I did, this one is actually hollow because I wanted to save material, but you can 3D print your pieces. So that does it for pretty much for this video. Guys, make sure you save. I should have done this earlier, but click on save. I'm going to create a new folder called chess pieces. So inside my OneDrive, chess pieces. Actually, there is one called SketchUp files. I might put it in there. SketchUp for Smith. Nah, that's not where I want it. I mean, create your own folders if you want, but I'm going to go ahead, just call mine SketchUp chess pieces and create. And that's right here. And I'm going to name this pawn chess piece. All right. So make sure you save. We're actually going to keep using this file. All right. So we got the pawn. We're going to do the king, queen, or king, rook, queen, bishop, knight. So we're going to go through all of the models together. So the next video I make will be me working on the next one. As always, guys, appreciate the support. Definitely drop a follow, subscribe, and like if you can. And we will continue working on this. Thanks so much, guys. I will see y'all in the class, and I will be there to answer any questions you may have.